Before we start the show, I want to thank and recognize our sponsor, Christy McCullough, and her Mobile, Alabama firm, Empowered Family Law, empowering families to navigate difficult changes and create new beginnings.
It's truly unbelievable what you can conquer with the positive thinking and playing it over and over and actually envisioning what you want to do and actually feeling it. If you can feel it and you can envision it, I've proven it. If you say you can't do something, you won't do it. You determine your future, honestly. If I'm going into something saying there's no way I'm going to be able to do this, I'm already defeated. But here I am now, living my full life. Giving up's easy. Keep going is the hard part, but believe me, it's 100% worth it.
Hey everyone, this is Rod Cate and welcome to this week's episode of Rocket Motivation. This week's guest suffered a spinal cord injury 11 years ago when he was 19 years old. His injury was at the C5, C6 vertebrae level, the same as mine. I found this week's guest while searching on Instagram. I was struck by watching videos of him doing physical things and giving so much effort, struggling to walk with leg braces and a walker. He has an attitude of, how am I going to get things done? He's tenacious and he doesn't give up. Zac Wolfe, welcome to Rocket Motivation.
Hey, thank you guys for having me. Appreciate it.
Yeah, man. So Zac, let's do this. Tell us kind of where you are today in your life, where you live, family, what you do. Just kind of catch us up to speed.
I'm 30 years old now. I work full-time at a powder metal factory in the quality department, and therapy is still my number one thing. I come home from work, 8-10 hour day, come home and work out for a couple hours. And then I live in St. Mary's, Pennsylvania. I have a very close-knit family. Married my wife, Brittany, for the past 6 years, and we have a little puppy, Otto. We're actually going through the adoption process right now. We've been going through different things, and it's a very trying process, I will say. I have a sister. Both my parents were really close. We actually sort of headed over today. Like I said, I'm very active in the outdoors. I'm always outside, constantly doing something, hand cycling. I have Jeeps, which you guys will probably see on my Instagram. I'm big into that. I just am always doing something. I keep very active, I will say. So that's like a little bit about what I'm doing now. And that's a little bit about, I guess, what I do.
So you live in St. Mary's, Pennsylvania. Tell us about St. Mary's.
St. Mary's is a small town. I actually grew up in about 10 minutes away from here. It's not big at all. And they were about 2 hours away. So St. Mary's it's in a hick town, I guess you'll say. It's all the woods. We're close to woods. Where I grew up, we had one stoplight in town. So that sort of gives you guys an idea how small it actually is. St. Mary's is a little bit bigger, but not much bigger.
So St. Mary's has 3 stoplights. Is that right?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. All right. So let's go back to when you're 19 years old. So tell us what happens to cause your spinal cord injury.
So we were out, it was 4th of July weekend. We were out camping in the middle of the woods, what we do quite a bit, actually still do. A bunch of guys got together 4th of July weekend. It was a yearly thing. The 4th was on a Sunday that year as well. And I got hurt on the 3rd, so we had to run in. We were there for another day. Had to run and get some supplies into town. Town was about 15 minutes away. And we had to jump in the truck. We were drinking earlier in the day, pretty much all day. And we had left about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, 1:30. I was going to drive, ended up not driving. My buddy, we jumped in a single cab truck. I was in the middle seat and we had driver and a passenger. And, we're having a good time jamming music. And we get about not even a half a mile outside of town, I should say, our destination. And we come around a sharp bend, I see a vehicle in our path of travel. We sort of took a corner wide, I'll say. And we swerved, hit a bank, and then a telephone pole, went up the bank, hit a telephone pole, and rolled the truck over. I was going in and out of consciousness, and I woke up face down on the road. Prior to me waking up, I'll never forget, I saw the brightest white light I've ever seen in my entire life. And then I woke up to my buddy screaming to me that the ambulance is coming. Kept going in and out of consciousness. Couldn't move anything at all. From my neck down, couldn't feel anything. I was bloody. I just could see blood running all over the road. And it was a very horrific scene, I will say. And then taken to the local hospital, emergency room, and got life flighted to the nearest trauma center. And I sort of didn't know what was really wrong with me at all because I was just so in shock. I had nobody really, they life flighted me out and I had no idea. All I know is I couldn't feel or couldn't move anything.
You say you saw the brightest white light. What do you think that was?
I don't know. They say when you see white lights, you're You read all and hear all these things that you're close to death, but I don't know. It was the craziest thing ever. And I remembered it as soon as I came to in the hospital, even. I was like, it was something that I can't even describe. It was super scary. I will say that.
Okay, and so you're in the hospital. You can't move.
Mhm.
As we're talking, I'm just thinking about back when mine, because it was all the same thing. I'm sitting there in the hospital and I can't move. I think you go in, you have surgery, you've broken your neck at the C5, C6 level, and you got spinal cord damage. So then eventually, you realize what's going on. The doctors kind of tell you what's happening. When you realize what's happening, that you're paralyzed from the neck down, talk about your mindset there.
It hit me like a ton of bricks. I didn't know what a spinal cord injury entailed. I didn't know what I had in front of me, or what the path of my forward was. I was crushed. I was the type of, like I said, kid who was active all the time, never had to ask for help. My mindset was very rock bottom. After that, I stayed in ICU for 7 days and then went to an inpatient facility. And when I got there, that's when it really hit me. I couldn't sit up on my own. I couldn't eat on my own. I couldn't shower myself. I couldn't do anything. And I cried a lot. And the people, my family I had a very supportive, huge support system. But, the people that were closest to me are the ones that I lashed out to, and because they were around me all the time. And, when my friends came around, it was like, I'm still the same old Zach. No, no, nothing really fazed me. But behind closed doors, I was a wreck. I was inpatient for a while, and I would sit there and think, what am I going to do? I didn't want to go to therapy. I didn't want to get out of bed because it was so hard to get out of bed, but I did. I made it a point every day to get out of bed and go to therapy. But definitely something that's very hard to explain, going through such a traumatic, your body, you have no clue what's going on. Basically, I was still in shock. I had no idea what's going on. So that's sort of like what my mindset was at initial, wow, I got a spinal cord injury. I guess that's my initial thought.
Yeah.
My mindset.
Well, and I guess you go through, like you said, you got the anger, the depression. I assume you, at some point, you went through the why me.
Oh yeah. That was a big thing for me. I always said, why me? Why does this happen to me? I'm so active, and, nobody else in the accident, like nobody else got hurt. And that's awesome. That's great. But, you're sitting there and you're crushing yourself thinking, why did this happen to me? I have my whole life ahead of me. And yeah, definitely had that a lot, the why me's.
Well, at some point, you get a change in your mindset. How long did it take, and what happened?
It was like, I think I said about 2 o'clock in the morning. I woke up middle of the night, started thinking, and I'm like, it was 2 weeks in, probably 3 weeks into my inpatient stay. And I thought to myself, I can cry all I want. I can say, why me? I can, get depressed. But it's not going to fix anything. I'm the only one that can fix this situation and push myself to the limits to get the best results that I can in therapy. So from that day forward, and I'm not joking at all, I busted my butt every single day. I made it a point to do extra therapy. Working on my mind, though, was getting your mind in the state after something like this happened was very hard. It was very difficult, and it didn't happen in a blink of an eye. It didn't happen overnight. I guess I had to train my mind to not think the bad things, which is hard. Like I would always shift my mind when I started getting depressed and thinking things. I'd always shift my mindset to something that I like doing, looking at Jeep parts online, looking at dirt bikes, different things, and just I would always shift my mindset so I wouldn't let myself get in a place of why again. And I still get there. Yes, I still have my days, but I had to shift my mindset, and that was a hard thing to do and hard thing to learn to do. But yeah, that's sort of from that 2.5 weeks in my inpatients when I sort of started really pushing it
Right.
hard.
And when you started pushing it hard, could you see improvement? Were you able to do things that you weren't able to do before?
It took time. And I hated people saying it's going to take time. I hated that. I was somebody who wanted something now, and it was difficult. I didn't see myself did not see improvements because I'm in my body, and people are saying, wow, you're doing better. You're doing better. And I could tell a little bit I was doing better. I was able to pick different things up with my hands because they were not working at all for the first definitely quite some time. And I could see little improvements, but it wasn't quick enough for me. So I would not really focus on the improvements. I just would focus on getting the work done and doing the therapy that I needed to do. There was days I didn't want to get out of bed. There was still days I don't want to get out of bed. But those days are the days that you have to push a little bit harder.
Well, what do you do on a day you don't want to get out of bed and you don't want to work hard? How do you make yourself?
That's a tough one. I honestly think days that I don't want to get out of bed, I think of my life. There's so many people that have worse off than me. I can get out of bed. I am able to get dressed myself. My wife helps me a ton on everything. And if I want to live a full life and live as much as I possibly can do myself, I do it. And I honestly, I look at my wife even, and I think, she does so much for me. So I have to push forward. I have to. And I have such a good support system. And I'm able to see the people that I'm helping through different social media and stuff. I want people to see that you can move forward, push past something like this. And that's a huge thing. And when I wake up and don't want to get up, I say, Zach, get your ass out of bed. You're not going to lay here all day. I can't. My body won't let me. It's just my mindset now, I guess.
Yeah, well, that's good. So, what are you able to do physically now? Because I've seen your videos, and most people that have broken necks with spinal cord injuries are not able to stand up. I've seen you with your leg braces and with your walker, and that you are able to ambulate. So I know you're able to do that. So tell us kind of what you are able to do, presently.
So every injury is 100% different. My injuries, it's considered incomplete now. And I'm able to stand, which this is something I was not able to do a couple months ago. I'm able to stand from sitting in my chair to get myself standing up straight and able to walk with my KAFO braces. My knees are locked out, but I'm able to walk as far as I really please, I guess. I challenged myself walking farther, but this started out with baby steps. I couldn't do it for the first 2 years. There was no way I was able to. I was standing in my standing frame. You build yourself up to these things. I started out with my standing frame, started with full support, trying to get my legs to swing forward, I guess. But I also had to work on my core. I had to do different core workouts. I had to do tricep workouts. So like when I thought, okay, I need to be able to stand up from my chair mound. That's a goal I want to do. And I started working on it. I'm thinking, how am I going to do this? I had to envision what I was going to do and think, okay, on my mat table, how can I work towards this goal? So I really started working on my core with different weighted balls. I started doing tricep workouts, and I used to have full assistants to help me stand up. And I started getting, less assistance being able to stand up. Now I work myself to stand up on my own. So that's sort of where I'm at present. I'm able to stand up and sort of walk as somebody's always by me just in case I do lose my balance. But walking forward, I do. And then I walk backwards, work different muscles. So definitely still improving. I'm 11 years post and I still see improvements, some bigger improvements. And it's hard because doctors, they know the books. They don't know the person's heart. They don't know the drive and determination a person has. So I just continue to work as hard as I possibly can and enjoy life and still try to get as far as I can, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. One of the reasons I'm so glad you're on this show today, and I'm thrilled to have you, because there's not that many people in the world like the two of us who've had these incomplete spinal cord injuries at the same level. And like you said something very important. There's none that are 100% alike. They're all a little bit different. Even though ours were at the same level, your injury, my injury to the spinal cord are probably a lot different, because I was fortunate in that, 3-4 months, I walked out of the rehab facility with those forearm crutches. And I've talked about it. It wasn't pretty, and it's still not pretty today, but I'm able to do that. But I also love your answer. You keep going, man. That's what you do. You work hard and you keep going. And so, and I know, you talked about you like ATVs and Jeeps, and I've seen some of your videos, just getting in it. That's something else you had to work on, right?
100%. It's something that I wanted to do and I had to do it. It was me and my wife getting in my Jeep first time. And I'm like, well, we can't go anywhere and get out of the Jeep because I need somebody to pick me up into the Jeep. So we sat in the driveway, my parents' house before we got married and stuff. And we worked on it. How are we going to do this? How can I get up in this with your help? Because she's a small girl and she couldn't pick me up into it because they're lifted and you have to have all the fun stuff. But we figured it out. what worked for us. And that's was a work in progress to now where we're at now. I can jump in the Jeep with her help in not even 20 seconds. I'm in the Jeep. So I found ways to do things. You got to think outside the box. I think outside the box every day. It's, for instance, today I was putting a folding table that was in my garage away. And I'm thinking, how am I going to fold this without literally crushing or hurting my foot or something? Because I was flipping it up. And I sat there and thought a minute. And somehow I got it put away and it worked. I thought, okay, so I had to flip it up, close it, and I sort of pushed it across the floor with my wheelchair to get to where I had to go, and it worked. So I'm always thinking outside the box of how I'm going to do things. And things do take longer than others, but you figure it out.
Hey, Zac, how do you maintain your positive attitude?
Everybody has bad days. I have bad days. And that's something I try to share, even on my social media. Some days I do fall in my wheelchair. Some days I can't get, it's hard for me to get back in my chair. And it just makes me so mad. And I have these bad days. But to stay positive, I realized that I can do, if you put your mind to something, you can do it. And I've lived a full life. I can do anything I used to do, plus some. And I just try to stay in the mindset where life's too short to get yourself worked up every day. Some things do go wrong, but life's too short. I want to enjoy life. I want to have fun. And I just keep my mind in the path thinking, okay, let's do this. Let's go have fun. Let's do something. And that's sort of, I pump myself up, as weird as it sounds. I honestly, wrestling was a big thing in my life, and it shaped me into the person I am. And that's why I'm so determined, and I really give it my thanks to that. But that's a hard answer. I just have to stay in my mindset of this is going to get done. That's what I do. That's my answer, I guess.
Yeah, no, it's a good one. If you like hard questions, here's another one. What do you learn about yourself through all this?
What did I learn? I learned that the human body is an amazing piece of machinery. I did a lot of research. I've read a lot of things. I've watched a lot of YouTube videos. One thing I learned is I get the question, how do you do it? How did you get to where you're at? Once you get your mind in the right place and know what you want to do, your body will follow. And I have proven that time after time. Different muscles that were not working, and we would do workouts that the muscle wasn't working. But if I could think it and keep thinking, even though we were going through the motion, eventually that came. It didn't happen overnight, and it may have took years, but I learned so much that your mind is such a powerful thing. It's truly unbelievable what you can conquer with the positive thinking and playing it over and over and actually envisioning what you want to do and actually feeling it. Okay, this is what I'm going to do. If you can feel it and you can envision it, you can do it. I've proven it multiple times. If you say you can't do something, you won't do it. I learned a lot about myself. You determine your future, honestly. If I'm going into something saying there's no way I'm going to be able to do this, I'm already defeated.
Yeah. Well, and I couldn't agree more. And I tell you, I think for my situation, your situation, and you talk about how the human body, it's just an amazing thing with the mind in there. And I think when you have these injuries like we have, one thing I feel like I'm more in touch with my body, or when something's wrong, you feel it and you kind of know it.
Yeah. You're 100% right.
And the mind too. I mean, like you can psych yourself up in good ways or in bad ways. Sometimes I can walk and I see a curb and I got to step over that curb. And, I've had times like, oh, God, I hope I can step over this curb. And the first time I don't. And then it takes me about 2 or 3 times. And then I get up over it. And it's amazing how your mind, how crazy and strong your mind is, and how it can kind of affect the way you do things.
That's 100% true.
Hey, Zac, what's your philosophy on life? What are we supposed to get out of life? What's it all about for you?
Reaching my goals. I have a vision board that I actually wrote things down, what I want to accomplish and what I'm going to check them off. And I work towards those goals. One thing I do want to stress, I did therapy for many, many years and I still do it. But I like to have fun. If you don't have fun along the way, you're going to be miserable. And me and my wife travel whenever we can. On the weekends, we're going somewhere and doing something. I like to have fun, but I also I'm determined to reach my goals and growing in Adaptive Outdoors. I want to, in my full-time job, I want to grow within the company. And, I've been reaching these goals, and that's sort of my philosophy. You got to live life. You got to have fun.
Yeah.
That's sort of what I do. Days There's days that you're just not going to feel like doing anything. But if your body's telling you to slow down, take a break, take a break. But I definitely like to have fun. That's my philosophy.
Well, good. So, Zac, what advice would you give somebody else kind of in your position? It doesn't have to be a spinal cord injury, but somebody has something that happened now they have a physical disability. What advice would you give them?
When I was first injured, I didn't know the different equipment, the different things out there to help you, the adaptive equipment to help you do things in my situation. I researched, I learned things, and that's why I share a lot of these things. But, somebody in my situation or similar situation, don't give up. Your mind is the hardest part. If you can beat that, and you will beat it, you just have to keep working at it. Things don't happen in a blink of an eye, in a second. It does take time. And I hate telling people that. I hate saying that, but it does. I could have quit doing therapy 5 years ago and just forgot about it. But for me, maybe I can't see a light at the end of the tunnel yet, but I will. And if you work hard and put the time in, you don't know how far you're going to get. They told me 2 years max, I'm going to stop seeing improvements. Hell, I just was able to stand up on my own a couple months ago.
Yeah, which is amazing because it's been 11 years. That's what's amazing. And let me broaden the question out. If there's some listeners out there that are just going through some tough times, depression, having some bad luck, just trying to overcome some adversity, just in general, what advice would you give those people?
Those days definitely come to an end. It's their minimal portion of your life. I hit rock bottom. I didn't know what way to turn, but here I am now living my full life, enjoying everything I do. Don't quit. Don't give up. Giving up's easy. Keep going is the hard part, but believe me, it's 100% worth it. 100%. That's sort of what I believe.
Okay, excellent. Hey, all right. So this is what I told you earlier. You said something in one of your videos I wanted to ask you about because I thought this was great. So this is one of the statements I just heard you say this on Instagram. I was listening to it today. The struggle is guaranteed, but the success isn't. Where did that come from?
I started listening to, Motiversity and different YouTube videos and stuff, and something came across, and it's like, that is the truest statement ever. You may not succeed. Struggling is, you're going to struggle through life, and anything you do, you are going to find a struggle. Any path you go through, you're going to find a struggle, but success is not guaranteed. You have to work towards that success. And if it takes years, then so be it, but you're going to fail time after time. I've failed 1 million times on transfers and different things, but I didn't give up. I kept trying different ways, and success is not promised the first couple times, maybe the first 1,000 times. But if you stay strong, keep pushing at it, you damn well get it. I promise that.
Okay. Hey, Zac, all right, so tell us about your Instagram, your social media. I think you do a blog. Tell us all about that. And if somebody wants to follow you, how they can do it.
My personal Instagram is ZWolfe01. I share a lot of just my progress and my life on there. I share everything I do. If you guys want to follow along on that. And then my Adaptive Outdoors, I created that to show the different disabilities, different people overcoming challenges, people overcoming life and living life with a full life with a disability, whether they were born with it or they had a tragic accident. The different adaptive equipment that's out there that I had no idea about because I'm from such a small town. No idea. I had to research all this stuff on my own. So I didn't see a platform out there for this type of thing. So that's why I created Adaptive Outdoors. I also have Adaptive Outdoors. Instagram it's Adaptive Outdoors with a Z. And then I also have a website, adaptiveoutdoors.com. Just share a little bit about myself, a little bit about different injuries. People, it's amazing the people I've met through social media and my personal and Adaptive Outdoors, the different disabilities that people have overcame. It's motivated me to better myself. Like this, the Adaptive Outdoors is helping people see that you can live a full life. And it's helped me so much I can't even explain to see all these things. So if you guys want to follow along, I have a YouTube channel as well. I share some of my things with it's Adaptive Outdoors, but I share a lot of my stuff with getting dressed, different tips that I do. Everybody has their own way to do things. And I share them because maybe it's something that somebody that one last thing that they need to get over the hump, that they can get in their car or get their wheelchair in their car. So I like to share those things. Everybody does it their own way, but if you can critique it to yours, so be it. I mean, that's why I do what I do. Right. And I want to keep doing it and sharing things with you guys.
Well, you need to, because it is great. I've watched you, you're on your bed putting your jeans on. And, even now with me, way I get dressed, I sit on a chair. I pick one leg up, I put my pants on, my one leg in, I do the next leg, and then I stand up, and then I pull them up, and it's, like we were talking about, like if I'm putting a shoe on, and then so I've got one foot up over the other leg, and then the shoe falls. You're like, oh God. So then you got to put your leg down, grab the shoe again, pull your leg up again. And unless you go through what we've gone through, that's so much fun for me to talk to you today, because we have so many things that we share that we go through that it's just, unless you're dealing with this, you just don't even know it.
Yeah. And what you said about dropping your shoe in the front, you can get so frustrated. Oh man, I get so frustrated sometimes when I'm trying 1,000 times to get my shoe on, and it just keeps falling off. I'm like, oh man. That's when I take a break, take a step back, take a deep breath, and start at it again. But it gets frustrating. You know as well.
I do. Well, Zac, I want to thank you so much for coming on, man. This has been great. I've been looking forward to this all day. I knew it was going to be as good as it was, so I want to thank you so much. But it's not over yet, because I always give the guest the parting shot. So give us something we hadn't talked about yet, some great advice, just some wisdom based on what you've been through. It's your time right now. Give us something to take us home.
I guess I'll wrap us up with, life hits hard. It can change in a blink of an eye. Don't take anything for granted. And when you have those tough days, I said this, but that is when you need to push harder. Those tough days are the days that are going to mentally make you stronger. And I believe that's why I got to where I'm at today, and not giving up, never quit mindset. It's a hard mindset to get into, but once you're in it, there's no stopping. You're a freight train. You're not going to stop. So guys, just know that life is hard, but you guys are tougher. Just keep pushing forward. So that's all I got. And if you guys ever have any questions about anything, you can always reach out to me on any of my social media platforms for sure.
You need to follow Zac. You need to watch his stuff, because you talk about inspiring and just somebody who's decided that he's going to make it happen. That's Zac, and his videos, that's what they're all about. But so Zac, again, thanks so much for coming on. It's been my pleasure.
Hey, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
What a great episode with Zac Wolfe. Having a guest on with a similar injury to me and listening to his struggles and his never quit attitude further inspires me to keep pushing every day. Next week will be our 60th episode and the end of season 5. I'm going to be the guest, and we're going to talk about Rocket Motivation's past, present, and future, along with some more motivation. See you next week. Thanks again for listening to Rocket Motivation. I want to again thank our sponsor, Christy McCullough, and her firm, Empowered Family Law. Listeners in the Mobile County, Alabama area, get in touch with Chrissy and Empowered Family Law for all your family law issues and needs. If you would like to get my book, Get Back Up, it's available at Amazon. Just put in Get Back Up and my name, Rod Cate, and the book will pop up. I'd appreciate it if you would subscribe to Rocket Motivation wherever you listen to your podcasts. And please rate and review the shows and spread the word about Rocket Motivation to your friends. So until next time, remember, never give up and always get back up.